red and blistered. I looked at my handsome boyfriend and grimaced. I then raised myself to my elbows. I've been here 2 whole minutes. 3 now, I corrected, glancing at my watch. I'm trying to meditate and get warm again after our half-hour jaunt in the lake. It's chilly out there. I now have 7 minutes before I have to go inside, take a shower, pick up Welly, and drive to the airport. Really? I have an hour before my next scuba class arrives at the Aquatic Adventure Center. Rory owned the Aquatic Adventure Center and had put his heart and soul into the place. He flashed a mischievous grin. Grinning was his superpower, making me forget that I was a little miffed at being interrupted while trying to get warm and trying to meditate. Meditate. I shook my head at the thought. Who was I kidding? I didn't have time to meditate. Rory knew this too. He leaned over, pulled me to him, and gave me a cold, wet hug. He released me and brushed a lock of my long, ash-blonde hair off my face. My hair was still damp. Sorry for the interruption, babe, but I've been thinking. I'm going to move my things out of the lighthouse. I narrowed my eyes as I looked at him. Really? Believe me, it's for the best. For the best? Best for who? Everyone, but mostly me. You might think this is a selfish move, but it's not. It's merely self-preservation. He had the gall to look serious as he said this. Are you forgetting something? I hit him with a bold, questioning look. Being a former Navy man, Rory knew how to mask his emotions. He was doing it now, his crystal blue eyes blankly staring into my light green ones, while a placid, unconcerned look sat on his face. He was so still, it was like staring into a painting of a man lost in thought. Deep thought. My heart began beating faster, louder, making me a little frantic, if I was being honest. I then blurted, You've rented out your cabin for the next 2 weeks. Where will you go? With a nonchalant shrug, he replied, Uncle Finn's offered me his guest bedroom. Tuck offered me his futon. Love my uncle, babe, but I'm leaning towards the futon. Seriously? I couldn't believe what I was hearing. I've slept on worse. No, I mean you're seriously moving out of the lighthouse? Babe, he uttered tenderly. I got the feeling he was misconstruing my concern for romantic separation anxiety. It might have been a little of that, too. Rory and I had been dating ever since Welly and I moved from our fancy New York City apartment to the old, run-down Beacon Point Lighthouse in Beacon Harbor, Michigan. Rory was my nearest neighbor, and after a bit of a rough start, we began dating. Rory Campbell was the love of my life. We'd been talking about taking our relationship to the next level, engagement. The thought was both exciting and scary at once. Because of my early-to-bed, early-to-rise baking schedule, he spent most of his nights at the lighthouse with Welly and me to optimize our time together. And now he was moving out? The thought was making me panic. Rory continued, It's just for a week. I'll see you every day. I love you, Linz, you know that, but I just can't. He couldn't finish the sentence. But you're doing so well with Kennedy staying here at the lighthouse. He really was. Kennedy Kapoor, my best friend, was back from New York for the summer. Because she was like a sister to me, my best guest room at the lighthouse was exclusively reserved for her. Kennedy and Rory loved each other, but they bantered and argued like siblings. That's because they were worlds apart when it came to backgrounds and personalities. Kennedy came from a wealthy, cultured English family. She was a fashionista, a social media influencer, a podcaster, co-owner of my mother's clothing boutique, Ellie & Co., and had never met a pair of high heels she didn't love. Posh was a term often associated with Kennedy. Rory, on the other hand, was a tall, strong, strapping hunk of a man who preferred the woods to a shopping mall. Although his late mother was Irish, Rory had been born and raised in Michigan. Strong, competent, accomplished, and resourceful were words often associated with Rory Campbell. However, I was beginning to sense a weakness in his manly armor. I'm used to Kennedy, he admitted.